We tell ourselves we're waiting for the right moment to speak, to act, to step forward. But what if that moment isn't coming? What if the things that matter most are the ones we keep holding back? Welcome to Spiritual Geography. I'm Joni Miller. Years ago, I wrote a blog post I called Waiting for Someday. I was writing about the moments when I held myself back, waiting until things were just right. It's not just me who does this. A few years ago, my siblings and I cleaned out my parents' house. 50 years of living packed into drawers and closets and corners. My parents grew up during the Great Depression and World War II, and they saved everything that might be useful someday. And there was a lot. Supplies for hobbies they loved, sewing, woodworking, jewelry making, stained glass. And then there were projects, some finished but left on a shelf, some almost finished, and some paused in a way that felt permanent. There was a velvet dress for a child or a grandchild, completely sewn with a hand-stitched hem, and one sleeve cut off, not waiting to be attached, cut off, too short to fix. There were rings my father had made sitting among his tools, clocks that just needed to be glued together, empty frames waiting for pictures that never came. But the most surprising of all were 2 china plates my mother had painted. When I picked them up, I saw they were inscribed to me in 1987. She had made them for me decades earlier and had never given them to me. I remember standing there holding them, wondering why. Maybe they didn't meet her standards. Maybe she got distracted and moved on to something else. Maybe it felt too vulnerable to give to me, afraid of my reaction, afraid of sharing part of her heart with me. I don't know. But I wonder how often that same hesitation lives in me. What do I hold back, waiting for someday? What do we all hold back? Over my life, I'd have waited for many somedays. I would date when I lost weight. I would take dance classes again when my knees stopped hurting. I had all these small conditions. I'll do that when, I'll try that when, I'll be ready when. And some of those concerns were real. But still, I wonder, what did I miss by waiting? What moments didn't happen because I was waiting for a version of myself that felt more complete, more comfortable? But in the chaotic times we're living in, I've started to notice something else. This isn't just personal. This shows up everywhere. We wait to speak until we're sure we'll say it the right way. We wait to act until we know it will matter. And most troubling of all, we wait for someone else to go first, to do whatever it is we ourselves feel hesitant to do. We wait for leaders to fix things, for someone else somewhere to step in and help. And this is very human. We're wired in groups to look after each other, to take cues from what everyone else is doing. There's even been research on this, how the more people there are, the easier it is to assume someone else will step in. And so we all wait, even when something in us knows we don't want to, even when something we value, the part of us that wants to speak, to show up, to participate, feels challenged. When I was younger, waiting for someday mostly affected me. The chances I took or didn't take, the experiences I stepped into or held back from. But when this same pattern shows up in how we live together, it doesn't just stay personal, it becomes collective. When we all wait at the same time, things don't happen. The conversation that might have mattered doesn't get started. The support someone needed doesn't quite show up. The moment that asked for a voice stays quiet. Not because people don't care, but because we're all looking around, waiting for someone else to go first. This doesn't feel like a decision. It feels like hesitation, uncertainty, wanting to get it right. Sometimes we tell ourselves waiting is the responsible thing to do. But sometimes it's something else. Sometimes that hesitation is the moment we step out of alignment with something we know to be true, the words that need to be spoken, the actions that need to be taken. It doesn't have to be something monumental. We sometimes think stepping forward means being the loudest, most eloquent voice in the room, or that we'd be taking on an issue single-handedly. Most of the time, though, it's much smaller than that. It's saying one thing that feels true. It's offering support when it would be easier to stay silent. It's taking one step forward without knowing exactly where it leads. There is no moment when we feel completely ready. No version of ourselves that arrives fully formed and certain. There's just this version right now, with what we can see, what we can say, what we can do. And maybe that's enough. Good enough for today. So instead of asking, when will I be ready? Maybe the question shifts to something simpler. What is one thing I already know that I'm waiting to act on? Maybe it's a conversation. Maybe it's a small step. Maybe it's choosing not to look away. Because someday never really arrives. It just keeps moving further into the future. Maybe the life we're waiting to step into, the person we hope to be, isn't somewhere out there ahead of us. Maybe it's already here, waiting for us. Sometimes I still wonder about those plates, made with care, inscribed with love, held on to for decades, and never given. What other gifts of ourselves don't make it into the world when we keep waiting? The words we don't say, the care we don't show, the parts of ourselves we hold back, waiting for someday. We don't understand the mysteries of the universe, but we can grow more love. Love for ourselves, love for others, and love for the infinite mystery that lays beyond our understanding. Thank you for tuning in.